I now invite the President of the Commonwealth of Dominica, His Excellency Charles Angelo Sovereign, DAH, to invest with the Medal of Honor those persons on whom honors have been bestowed for rendering meritorious service to the Commonwealth of Dominica. Dominica Award of Honor for meritorious service to the Commonwealth of Dominica by His Excellency Charles Angelo Sovereign, DAH, President of the Commonwealth of Dominica, to Dr. Carissa F. Etienne. Whereas you have rendered meritorious service to the Commonwealth of Dominica by your sterling contribution in the field of public health and international affairs for over 38 years, and whereas through your dedication and love for country, you served with pride and distinction and held various high-level positions such as medical officer, medical director, disaster coordinator, national epidemiologist, coordinator of the National AIDS Program, chair of the National AIDS Committee, director of primary health care services, consultant, national planning team, and acted as chief medical officer on 2 occasions. And whereas you are globally recognized public health champion and advocate, providing visionary leadership on the strategic 21st century health issues and striving to improve access to health care for all peoples, including poor, vulnerable, and marginalized populations. And whereas through your extensive experience and expertise, coupled with your progressive leadership ability, you were appointed as Assistant Director of PAHO and Assistant Director General of Health Systems and Services at the World Health Organization, and currently serve as Honorary Vice President of the American Public Health Association and as the Director of the Pan-American Health Organization. Now, therefore, I, Charles Angelo Sovereign, President of the Commonwealth of Dominica, as aforesaid, by this my warrant, do grant and confer on you the dignity and honor of the Dominica Award of Honor, which I am empowered to bestow on those persons who have rendered meritorious service to the Commonwealth of Dominica. And I do further order, by this my warrant, that you be awarded the Medal of Honor in recognition of your services to the Commonwealth of Dominica, given under my hand and the public seal of the Commonwealth of Dominica this 3rd day of November, 2015. 2015 Cicero Award for meritorious service to the Commonwealth of Dominica by His Excellency Charles Angelo Sovereign, DAH, President of the Commonwealth of Dominica, to Anthony Wadi Astafans, Esquire. Whereas you have rendered meritorious service to the Commonwealth of Dominica by giving dedicated service in the field of public and constitutional law for over 30 years, and whereas you're one of the leading senior counsels in the region and inarguably the leading public and constitutional law practitioner in the Eastern Caribbean, having represented several prime ministers and governments in the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States. And whereas, although your specialty, indeed your pleasure, is public and constitutional law, your erudition has split over into branches of law, including insurance law, contract law, and even criminal law. And whereas your work in the field of public law has given rise to several seminal decisions in the Caribbean and in the Commonwealth at the highest level of the judiciary, and whereas your passion and dedication for law lead to an insatiable, relentless, and unsurpassable capacity for research, and you are no less passionate about the plight of the poor and underprivileged. Now, therefore, I, Charles Angelo Sovereign, President of the Commonwealth of Dominica, as aforesaid, by this my warrant, do grant and confer on you the dignity and honor of the Cicero Award of Honor, which I am empowered to bestow on those persons who have rendered meritorious service to the Commonwealth of Dominica. And I do further order, by this my warrant, that you be awarded the Medal of Honor in recognition of your services to the Commonwealth of Dominica, given under my hand and the public seal of the Commonwealth of Dominica, this 3rd day of November, 2015. (2015) Meritorious Service Award for meritorious service to the Commonwealth of Dominica by His Excellency Charles Angelo Sovereign, DAH, President of the Commonwealth of Dominica, to Mr. Francis Emanuel, Esquire, Mr. Andres Andy Bricard, Esquire, Mr. Akel Hannah Raful, Esquire, Mr. Clifford Parillo, Esquire, Mrs. Zetma Augustine Toussaint, Mrs. Joseph Maria John Baptist, Mr. Benoit Badwil, Esquire, Mr. Mcafee Marie, Esquire, Mr. Wilson Brumant, Esquire. Whereas you have rendered meritorious service to the Commonwealth of Dominica, now, therefore, I, Charles Angelo Sovereign, President of the Commonwealth of Dominica, as aforesaid, by this my warrant, do grant and confer on you the dignity and honor of the Meritorious Service Award, which I am empowered to bestow on those persons who have rendered meritorious service to the Commonwealth of Dominica. And I do further order, by this my warrant, that you be awarded the Medal of Honor in recognition of your services to the Commonwealth of Dominica, given under my hand and the public seal of the Commonwealth of Dominica this 3rd day of November 2015. Meritorious Service Award to Francis Emanuel, Esquire. Whereas you have rendered meritorious service to the Commonwealth of Dominica by providing faithful and dedicated service towards the development of the private sector for the past 38 years, and whereas your strong leadership qualities have led to the efficient management of various private sector institutions and organizations, such as Harris Paints Dominica Limited, National Petroleum Marketing Company Limited, Edgehill and Associates, Dominica, Variety Foods Limited, Eric's Bakery Limited, NSG Exports Limited, England. And whereas, in addition to your managerial role through your dedication and love for your country, you served with pride and distinction on various boards and statutory bodies in both the private and public sectors. And whereas you currently serve as Honorary Consul of Trinidad and Tobago in the Commonwealth of Dominica, for these services to the Commonwealth of Dominica, you are today presented with the Meritorious Service Award. Meritorious Service Award to Andres Andy Burkard, Esquire. Whereas you have rendered meritorious service to the Commonwealth of Dominica by your outstanding contribution in the development of physical education and sports over the 20 years, and whereas you initiated Sports Aid Dominica and played a pivotal role by providing assistance with sports equipment and facilities throughout the years, and were involved in exchange programs and in educating and training of sports officers, teachers, adolescents, young adults, and children. And whereas you served as senior sports officer with the main responsibility of coordinating physical education and sports in primary schools, were actively involved in the Dominica Amateur Athletics Association as Vice President, President, and General Secretary, and was selected as coach of the Olympic team which participated in Olympic Games in Athens in 2004. And whereas you currently serve as Honorary Consul of Switzerland in the Commonwealth of Dominica, for these services to the Commonwealth of Dominica, you are today presented with the Meritorious Service Award. Meritorious Service Award to Akel Hannah Raful, Esquire. Whereas you have rendered meritorious service to the Commonwealth of Dominica by your dedicated service in the areas of business for the past 53 years and tourism for 25 years. And whereas you started to develop tailoring skills at the tender age of 14, established your own tailoring business in 1969, followed by a furniture factory several years later, where you provided employment opportunities to many Dominicans who developed skills in professional upholstery, craftsmanship, woodwork, and other craft techniques. And whereas you established other businesses in the tourism industry as a taxi operator and partnered in the automotive industry, and whereas you have responded charitably to the personal needs of many Dominicans and have provided financial support to many causes, including sponsoring of Carnival Queen contestants and the national football team. For these services to the Commonwealth of Dominica, you are today presented with the Meritorious Service Award. Meritorious Service Award to Clifford Parallel, Esquire. Whereas you have rendered meritorious service to the Commonwealth of Dominica by your outstanding contribution in the field of education for 33 years, including 16 years as school principal. And whereas from 1977, you have been active in community groups and organizations and served on the boards of numerous institutions, including the Dominica Association of Teachers, Catholic Church Fundraising Committee, Portsmouth Credit Union, Portsmouth Carnival Organizing Committee, the Eastern Caribbean Telecoms Authority. And whereas you currently serve as member of the Portsmouth Town Council, board member of the St. John's Academy, chairman of the board of directors of the center where adolescents learn to love and serve calls, and manager owner of Comfort Zone Apartments, Ross Student Housing, For these services to the Commonwealth of Dominica, you are today presented with the Meritorious Service Award.
Thank you.
His brother. His brother, Cletus Parilo, is receiving the award on his behalf.
Meritorious Service Award to Mrs. Zetma Augustine Tuse. Whereas you have rendered dedicated service to the Commonwealth of Dominica in the field of health management for over 45 years, and whereas throughout your career you served as staff nurse midwife, registered nurse, tutor, principal tutor, and hospital services coordinator. You also serve as a mentor for a recently organized Ministry of Health program geared to assist nurses at the Princess Margaret Hospital. And whereas because of your special love for the elderly, you accepted the position of Executive Director of the Dominica Council on Aging, served as President of the Dominica Council on Aging, and organized and conducted many training programs for persons engaged in giving care to the elderly. And whereas, along with others, you founded a daycare center for the elderly in St. Joseph, and later became a founding member of the Senior Citizens Association of St. Joseph, and serve within your church community as lay associate in pastoral care, lector, communion minister, and member of the senior choir of the St. Joseph Catholic Church. For these services to the Commonwealth of Dominica, you are today presented with the Meritorious Service Award. Meritorious Service Award to Mrs. Josette Maria John Baptist. Whereas you have rendered meritorious service in the Commonwealth of Dominica by your outstanding contribution in early childhood education for 40 years. And whereas you attended several training programs and workshops and helped mold members of society who became scholars, professors, doctors, lawyers, and leaders. And whereas in 2005, you were instrumental in preparing the early childhood checklist, which is still being used today to assess children's readiness for primary education. You were recognized in 2008 by the Social Center for your long and dedicated service in the field of early childhood education in the Commonwealth of Dominica. And whereas you served on the Early Childhood Council from 2000 to 2013, and presently function as president of the Preschool Teachers Association on the West Coast. For these services to the Commonwealth of Dominica, you are today presented with the Meritorious Service Award. Meritorious Service Award to Emanuel Badwell, Esquire. Whereas you have rendered meritorious service to the Commonwealth of Dominica by your outstanding contribution and unwavering commitment to air and seaport development for 38 years. And whereas through your tremendous leadership and managerial abilities, you served as accountant and general manager of the Dominica Port Authority and currently serve on various boards, including the Discover Dominica Authority, Eastern Caribbean Civil Aviation Authority, the Air Transport Licensing Board, and the Dominica Employers Federation. And whereas during your tenure as manager of the Port Authority, you brought about significant changes in the operations of the port. And today, Dominica is one of the first ports within the region to have adopted the free alongside model. And whereas you were very instrumental in the merger of the Dominica Port Authority and the Airport Services Division to form the Dominica Air and Seaports Authority, which is currently operating successfully under your direction and leadership as its first Chief Executive Officer. You continue to lead the way for the full transformation in every aspect of air and seaport development, geared at ensuring international compatibility, especially night landing operations at the Douglas Charles Airport. For these services to the Commonwealth of Dominica, you are today presented with the Meritorious Service Award. Meritorious Service Award to Mcafee Marie, Esquire. Whereas you have rendered meritorious service to the Commonwealth of Dominica by your dedicated service in the music industry for 35 years. And whereas from 1979, you have been an entrepreneur in music industry, became a member of SACEM the French Performing Rights Organization, established Markov Studio, a recording facility which provides recording services to local artists, and served as director of the Eastern Caribbean Collective Organization for Music Rights, ECHO. And whereas you are a recognized expert on international property and copyright administration, have been an advocate for the education of the public and the proper administration of intellectual property and copyright laws, and established the payment of copyright fees by major users, including radio stations and cable TV service providers, hotels, and commercial establishments. And whereas you are the president of the Association of Caribbean Copyright Societies and a former lecturer of economics at the University of the West Indies, Cayville campus, Barbados, for these services to the Commonwealth of Dominica, you are today presented with the Meritorious Service Award. Meritorious Service Award to Wilson Brumant, Esquire. Whereas you have rendered meritorious service to the Commonwealth of Dominica through your faithful and dedicated service in the field of agriculture for 65 years. And whereas you began your journey in the field of agriculture at the tender age of 13, when you planted 2 banana plants in your backyard, and later became the main supplier of planting material of ginger to the Ministry of Agriculture for the crop diversification program. And whereas in your quest to promote excellence in agriculture, you have played a leading role in fruit quality management, and you were one of the early adopters of agricultural technology for improving banana production. And whereas you were involved in the production of 17 acres of a wide range of crops, which included bananas, yams, dasheen, tania, treacups, and coconuts. And through your vast knowledge and sterling contribution to the agricultural sector, you have been regarded as an outstanding role model to many Dominican farmers. For these services to the Commonwealth of Dominica, you are today presented with the Meritorious Service Award. (2015) Services Medal of Honor. For meritorious service to the Commonwealth of Dominica by His Excellency Charles Angelo Savre, DAH, President of the Commonwealth of Dominica. 2, Mr. Alan John Esquire. Mrs. Silma Agnes Coffey, First Serenade Band, represented by Mr. Carlton Winston. Whereas you have rendered meritorious service to the Commonwealth of Dominica, now therefore I, Charles Angelo Savre, President of the Commonwealth of Dominica, as aforesaid, by this my warrant do grant and confer on you the dignity and honor of the Services Medal of Honor, which I am empowered to bestow on those persons who have rendered meritorious service to the Commonwealth of Dominica. And I do further order by this my warrant that you be awarded the Medal of Honor in recognition of your services to the Commonwealth of Dominica, given under my hand and the public seal of the Commonwealth of Dominica this 3rd day of November, 2015, President. 2015 Services Medal of Honor to Alan John Esquire. Whereas you have rendered meritorious service to the Commonwealth of Dominica through your unwavering and loyal contribution in the area of community service. And whereas you served as chairman of the Coliho Village Council. Currently, you are a major promoter of the Waitikubuli National Trail. You function as its custodian and provide free services to its operations. And whereas you continue to do voluntary work on beautification projects, feeder roads, vegetative management in and around Coliho, and general maintenance work at the Coliho Primary School. And whereas you helped to improve life for everyone in your community and surroundings for many years, and continue to do so by building benches for public use in Coliho, Diubla, and Bioche. And you are dedicated to the promotion and protection of the natural environment. For these services to the Commonwealth of Dominica, you are today presented with the Services Medal of Honor. (2015) Services Medal of Honor to Mrs. Silma Agnes Coffey. Whereas you have rendered meritorious service in the Commonwealth of Dominica by your contribution to early childhood education for over 50 years, 25 years of which you served as principal of the St. Alphonsus Preschool. And whereas through your unwavering and faithful service, you received various awards, including an award for outstanding contribution in the development of the Pottersville community in the field of teaching, award for contribution to the development of early childhood education within the community, 2010 Goodwill Reunion, award for significant and dedicated service to the St. Alphonsus Parish, 2012, and an award for dedicated and outstanding service in early childhood development in Dominica Ministry of Education and Human Resource Development 2012. And whereas through your interest in social development, you became a member of the Vibrant Citizens Group, Cancer Society, and Diabetic Association. And through your love for culture, took part in the Madame Wob Duet Show in October 2014, when you won the second runner-up title. For these services to the Commonwealth of Dominica, you are today presented with the Services Medal of Honor. (2015) Services Medal of Honor to First Serenade Band. Whereas the First Serenade Band has given faithful and dedicated service to the Commonwealth of Dominica in the field of music for 31 years. And whereas you contributed immensely to youth development by teaching young people to play various musical instruments, and contributed towards community development by hosting Mother's Day activities, participating in various village feasts, carnival activities, and tourism promotion activities throughout the island. And whereas in 1998, you received an award from the National Cultural Council for outstanding contribution to cultural development in contemporary music, and won the NCCU 2014 Cadas Lipso competition. And whereas you have released 13 albums, represented and promoted Dominica, especially in Europe, the United States of America, the French West Indies, and brought Dominica's very own bouillon to the world. For these services to the Commonwealth of Dominica, you are today presented with the Services Medal of Honor.
Okay. Thank you, Your Excellency, for honoring these persons who have rendered meritorious service to the Commonwealth of Dominica.